Okay. We're gonna get started, but not at the time we said we were gonna get started. I don't know how things work in your community, but we put 5:30. Sometimes it means tomorrow. So I think what's gonna happen is we just got a few things we gotta sort out. In the meantime, just some quick announcements and maybe some housekeeping. For folks who need to use the restroom, restrooms are over here. We do ask that everybody, while you're in the building, you're keeping your mask on, except when you're eating or partaking in the drink. And for folks who are listening online, thank you for joining us. Just remember to keep your mics muted and all those things you gotta do on Zoom that I'm really bad at. So we'll get started as soon as we can. That food is smelling delicious. We don't wanna make people wait too long. I'm not gonna wait that long. So, and then yeah, you're just like, who's this guy up here talking? We'll get into that when we start. I'm just some random guy they hired because they want to save money. That's how a family does it. When they want to save money, they ask your cousin to come and say a few words. So we'll introduce everybody and get the program started. Just give us another 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll get going. Thank you for your time. They give you the where you're gonna be, right? These are like a All right, I think we're going to get ready to start. If folks want to find a seat or just someplace comfortable, do whatever makes you feel safe. We got an empty table in the corner. What's up, Kat? All right, thank you so much for your patience as we had some technical difficulties relearning how to use paper. We've been online for a while trying to figure this stuff out, and it's adjustment for everybody. So thank you for all that, and thank you for everyone that's tuning in online. I'm here to celebrate and acknowledge Indigenous Peoples Day. Thank you all for being here. We're not going to go into a whole spiel. We had a dance routine ready for everybody, but what ended up happening was one of our student workers who was going to co-host couldn't make it today for unforeseen circumstances. And so we're very lucky that, you know, people just fill in, right? Like, we need help, your family steps up. And Yolanda, who is the coordinator for the center in terms of like I forget, I used to work here. I swear I used to work here. We were like counterparts. I worked in Peel, which is the Pacific Islander.
We were critical friends.
We were critical friends too. Everyone needs a critical friend. And I can't even remember, program specialist. Is that what we call ourselves? Coordinator?
It's a long title.
It doesn't matter. What matters is someone couldn't make it, and Yolanda stepped up today, and now we're co-hosting, and we had to cut out the dance routine.
Actually, I will just share briefly. I always try to give students opportunities to lead, and so I have a new team, and the student who was going to co-MC and kind of have that experience and learn tonight called out sick. And so I just definitely want to highlight students any opportunity that I get. So thank you all for being here. Okay. So we can do your self-introduction.
We introduce ourselves. So this is Yolanda. If y'all need help and you're a student here at Portland State, you're looking to get leadership opportunities, especially in our Indigenous community, you need to see Yolanda. My name is Mac. I used to work somewhere around here, and I used to come here and eat all the food. And I used to the kitchen and cook all the good stuff with Trevino and Robert, who's managing our online systems right now. But it's always good to be back. I was brought up here as a student, always found ways to come back every time I visit from the island, and now I'm here. I work at Portland Community College, so if y'all need help in that space too, or you have friends, we have people where they're needed. So that's a good introduction, right? All right, we got through that. We're gonna be all right. And next up, I think we're just gonna go along with the program, and I'm gonna give the mic over to Harold Paul, who's gonna introduce the drum and also our blessing song for today.
Tots Kalawit. My name is Harold Paul. I'm the lead singer for the Four Directions Drum. We are Four Directions Drum. To my left right here is Robert Trimble. We got James Allman and Angelique Spotted Eagle, Alicia Spotted Eagle, and we got my grandson Julius.
If everybody could please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. So my coworkers, and I want to share with everyone else that hasn't been in this space tonight, I grew up on the Yakima Reservation and relocated here to Portland to attend college. So I'm so grateful for the Multnomah, Cathlamet, Clackamas, Tumwater, Watalabanza, the Chinook, the Tualatin Kalapuya, and many other indigenous nations along the Columbia River for welcoming me, my family, my friends, students. And they've provided educational opportunities that are available to our indigenous communities because of the sacrifices that they made before us. I just want to acknowledge that.
Check. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bless the food, and we'll probably just explain some of the protocol around this so that we all kind of know what's happening and you don't have to figure it out the hard way, right? So after our guest comes to bless the food, we're actually going to invite our elders to receive their food first, and then folks can follow after. And then again, if you weren't here for the earlier announcements, we're asking people to keep their mask on, except when you're eating and drinking. So when you're at your table, your chair, unless you figured out how to eat with your mask on, you're going to probably need to take it off to enjoy the meal. So, yeah, without further ado, I just met this guy, and then we connected like this. There's a thing that, like, indigenous people do or island people do. We're like, what's up? And then they're like, what's up back? And then we started connecting. But that's, like, one of the beautiful things I love about coming to the center and being in a community like this, that, like, we just kind of, we speak each other's languages, and so to speak. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up Josh Kiowa, who's with one of the groups that's going to be doing a presentation later, but has also stepped up as our original person who was supposed to give the blessing, wasn't able to do it. So thank you so much, Josh.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. If you are watching and have the program, it says Tribal Elder. I'm not an elder, but excited to be able to be with you guys and say the prayer and to get going so we can eat. So let's get to it. Kefai talotu is how we say it where I'm from. You can stay seated or stand if you'd like, but I will ask you to remove your hat. We are grateful, Creator, for this time to be able to gather on this day to celebrate each other, ourselves, our ancestors, and those who are coming. And we are grateful to be able to start our meeting with these beautiful songs, words, and also this food. And we pray that as we nourish our bodies and prepare our spirits and minds to be able to be with one another, that we'll be able to take the most that we can away from this experience, whether we're here in person or with us here via the internet. And we, again, are grateful for the time that we live in so that we can be able to openly celebrate not only ourselves, but, again, our cultures, our way of knowing, understanding, believing, and celebrating our spirituality as well. So aho meonde, and we're grateful for these things. And with grateful hearts, we prepare to have this food. Go.
Malo apito toko. Okay, so yeah, we would like to invite our elders to please make your way to the line and help yourself first. I know for some folks who are like, I don't know what that looks like. An elder, I usually just say, just wait 10, 15 minutes. And when that time has run up, then you know they've all had the opportunity to go get their food. So please, by all means, however you express eldership, where you're from, we would like to invite you to the table to help yourself. Or some people like, I still got it, and I don't want to call myself an elder. You can stay down too. Yes, the food is free. If you want to donate something to the FeedMac Foundation, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, student fee money paid for this, and if you're a student or community member, this meal is free. And then while you're eating and people are going up, the drum is just gonna play us another song to entertain us while you're getting your food.
they have that? It's a secret to my singing. Catch them real fast and then we'll come back. Yeah, give me that ginger ale on it, son. Yeah. Or mug. Yeah, mug reaper like that or ginger oil. Ginger oil.
Yeah, I really.
Oh, yeah.
we're going to send the bill to everybody's table when you're done eating. Forgot to mention that at the beginning. But before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge the presence of our president here at Portland State University, President Stephen Percy, and also Vice President Ahmed Lambert for showing up today. Thank you so much. And then again, just some housekeeping. If you haven't been to the building before, the restrooms are past my left. There's not a whole lot of doors back here, so I'm sure you'll find it when you get over there. And then I'm going to pass it back to Yolanda, who's got some more announcements on our upcoming speakers.
Well, this is definitely my first time using a mic with a mask, so bear with me. I just wanted to give a little bit of backstory. We started meeting for this committee during the summer because, as you know, students are on break, and this event happens 2 weeks after school starts. So we had to meet during the summer. And one of the things that folks wanted this event to be is uplifting. And so that's both of our presenters tonight have that in their context. But I just wanted to share that. And then now I want to welcome our student poet. Her name is Brianna Renee. She's a spoken word artist from Portland, Oregon. She started writing poetry as a coping mechanism to heal herself and was pleased to learn that it could heal others as well. Brianna's poetry will take you on an emotional ride as she explores themes such as activism, vulnerability, and raw Black girl magic. Brianna founded the People's Poets Open Mic in 2017. She created this platform so that writers of color can feel the power and liberation of telling their story. Brianna Renee was crowned 2018 Grand Slam champion and represented Portland at the 2020 Women the World Poetry Slam. She was featured for many great organizations such as Pickathon, We Make PDX, Literary Arts, and many more. Brianna has something to say and is thankful for anyone willing to listen. Please welcome Brianna Renee to the mic.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Brianna Renee, and I'm so honored to be invited to share some of my poetry today with you all. I am a spoken word artist. I have been representing Portland for about 3 years now nationally at the competitions, but more importantly, I decided to create an open mic, to create a platform for artists of color, because in a city like this, we need that. And I have been through many things as a Black, chronically ill woman in this city, and I needed a place to share my story, and I know how important that is. So that's why I'm so happy to be here to not only listen to your stories today, but to offer my solidarity. And the poem that I will be reading today is called We the People, because I think we need to change the way we say we the people in this country. It is not representative of the actual people that built this country. So that's my piece for today, and I'm so excited to listen to the rest of the program. And I'm so thankful to be here at PSU because I have learned so much about Indigenous history that I never have before. None of my classrooms previous to PSU taught anything about it. And the capstone that I'm working with is being able to work hands-on with the community. It's an amazing opportunity, and it's an amazing opportunity to be here. So this is my poem that I wrote just for this event, We the People. We the people. For many generations, this term has been used by white men to falsely represent the best interests of us all. This term has turned into propaganda to promote white supremacy in the name of unity, even if it means the rest of us fall. For many generations, we have sat in classroom and were told to take pride in Columbus Day, but not once were we made aware of the actual price that Indigenous people have had to pay. I grew up on the sacred land of Clackamas and Multnomah County all of my life, and never once in those classrooms was I told whose story was being sacrificed. And when it comes to shameful patterns of genocide and white supremacy, we the people often say that is all in the past and that we cannot change history. And while that may be true, we the actual people can still choose to deny the villagers as any type of victory. We the actual people reject the false narrative that a lost, rapist, liar, and mass murderer is any type of hero. We refuse to further traumatize communities that feel the daily impact of his so-called legacy puts them through. We, the actual people that have been silenced and slaughtered by white supremacy for far too long, we say no more. There are at least two sides to every story, but we have been listening to the wrong one for way too long. It is time for marginalized communities to come together and make this country march to a beat of a different song, because we, the actual people, know what it is like to go unheard. So we will sing our truth so loud until the whole world learns our lyrics word for word, because we know what it feels like to fight, and we know what it feels like to survive. And when you're constantly shattering barriers formed against you, in the process, you learn how to empathize. So today I offer empathy. And as we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, we, your people, will more importantly be listening. Listening to your stories, feeling your pain, learning from your tradition, and living in our lives to devotion to making sure that things change. We, the actual people, are making change. We say goodbye to the lies of Christopher Columbus Day and dedicate this time off to stand in solidarity and listen to what you all have to say. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. That was very beautiful, very impactful. Makes me think of so many things that we can do individually to partake in our knowledge, or the gathering of knowledge for ourselves and how we interact with Indigenous folks or even our surroundings. We're taking care of some stuff right now, so I think this is what I was brought here to do, stall until things have to happen. But like an interesting story, I'm gonna put this down for a sec, is that, I grew up here in Portland and also grew up in American Samoa. So I grew up in, I don't know if anyone's from North Portland, Columbia Villa. That's where I'm from. So I'm from the block in the rock, as I say. And one of the things is interesting is I always drove by this road called Chautauqua. Chautauqua Road in North Portland is very short, but I drive by Chautauqua and I never even thought for a second where that word comes from. And then lo and behold, I'm doing my research and I'm reading, and I see the name of the tribe and the people in a book I'm reading from Alan Parker and Siam Edmo. And what was interesting in there is that the tribe that it belonged to, the Iroquois, were actually responsible for convincing the quote-unquote founding fathers of this country about democracy. Like, that's not an idea they brought from Europe. It's an idea that's indigenous to people, because the Iroquois folks had already split up their nations and gathered as one, right? And so knowing that Chautauqua was from that group and hearing your poetry about, like, we can do more to understand Multnomah, Kathlamet, and all the other tribes in this space can really change the way on how you participate with Indigenous peoples and spaces, right? Like, Milwaukee is just not some random name of a suburb of Portland. It belongs to a people. And the crazy thing about the Milwaukee name is that they're still struggling to find the original meaning of that space. And so we have to do more on our part to bring back to life these words that have meaning, that are descriptive, that are part of the history of our Indigenous people, so that they can live and exist. So thank you so much for, see, I'm good there. I did this right. Everyone online, give all the thumbs up and the hearts and everything. This is how we do it at Portland State. All right, so I'm gonna pass it back to Yolanda for our next announcement. Oh, okay, we're gonna do 20-something? Sure, actually, I'll do it first. That's just how it does. You just listen to Yolanda and you'll get by all right. So next up, we're gonna bring out the 20-something project. We know when you're done and we're done participating in the presentation, I hope you get a chance to check out the work that they're doing. I had a lot of time knowing that when they were gonna be here to just research some of that work, and especially in the age of like COVID and the 2 years we had, especially with this transitioning out of one office to the other in this country, like, we've need a lot of healing, and especially our young folk. I'm still young, still got it. But I mean, we all need it, right? And so this is just one of those indigenous-led projects that just bring a lot of rooted healing, and we could all use it. So we're gonna introduce them. And I'm getting nervous because I can talk all day. I have a public fear of reading. But just for you tonight, PSU, I'm gonna do it. Here we go. Also, this is really important. Commas are important because I want to introduce Josh when he blessed the food. I was like, I didn't put a comma there, and I just straight up made up a last name for him. So, commas. All right. So, Josh Cogger, who's I need my other paper. I'm so sorry. Kiowa and Tongan from the people in Oklahoma and also Tonga in the South Pacific. He is a certified outdoor instructor and facilitator with an associate's degree from Whitireia and Polytechnic in Wellington, New Zealand. He has traveled extensively in the South Pacific for work and serving, including Papua New Guinea, Tonga, Australia. He has worked at the Tonto National Forest in Arizona as a trail walker coordinator and trainer for Outdoor Behavioral Healthcare Foundation. Okay. He is one of the Native Wellness Institute lead youth leadership facilitators and is one of the founders of the Northwest, the NWI Indigenous 20-something project. From the age of 14, Josh was given the position in a military society of his tribe and trained as a youth leader to preserve and share traditional knowledge with his generation. He seeks to honor and share that knowledge with everybody. And quotes, my hope is that I can help reintroduce people from all walks of life to our first mother and all her wisdom and beauty. I hope to inspire healing, harmony, and connection through the use and passing of traditional skills in outdoor.
And then I get the pleasure of introducing Kalina Lawrence to my right. She's from the Suquamish Nation. Kalina is an Indigenous vocalist, aspiring MC, and music producer with familial lineage to multiple Coast Salish tribes, including Duwamish. Her debut album, Epicenter, was self-released by The Way of the Bay in August 2018. The 28-year-old remains an independent artist with one album, one EP entirely in the Lushootseed language, 5 singles, and various features in collaboration with artists such as Aloe Black, Rudy Kalma, The Watershed, and more. While depicting intergenerational trauma in her hip-hop Salish fusion works, she equally draws from examples of her people's resiliency. She co-wrote and self-produced the single Lushootseed is Live, a project representative of how the young artist is using music in pursuit of liberation. Please welcome them.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Well, that was really official. I'm not actually used to people reading those things out while I'm sitting there. It's kind of intense to hear a quote. It's like, this man said this. Oh, frick, okay. But I'm glad that I meant it, and I did actually say that. I wanted to share a little bit more about who I am and where I come from. So, as it was mentioned, my English name is Joshua Cocker. My Kiowa name is Konguluka. And it's the blanket that we put on our horses when we ride into battle. It's a mark of bravery, and I aspire to be that brave. That beautiful, tiny little human that you can see if you're here, and if you're not, you probably hear her. Her name is Togyahoroma. Togyahoroma. Her name, that's her legal name. Her name means she kills in the snow. And I have a 4-year-old son back home in California, and his name is Antuk, which means more than a friend. And so I'm super happy to be here, along with my children that you can see half of. I also am lucky to be in love with a beautiful woman named Eva Pagling. And I'm excited to be here visiting this territory and joining you today for this reason. Today is Indigenous Peoples Day. Yeah? It's the day on the calendar that now we're allowed to celebrate. We should be celebrating every day, but today especially. So finish your food and get comfortable, because we are going to ask you to get up and move around. Yeah, it's part of celebrating, being with one another. I don't know if we have a dance routine for everyone to learn, but there'll be something. Along with my names, the people that I come from, the territories that I live in, I also want to share that when I was 14, it was mentioned, I was brought up in one of our societies back home in Oklahoma. It's where the Kiowas are now. And the society is called Tonkonga. It's our Black Leggings Warrior Society. They have 2 children, 2 boys, 2 girls, out of every generation. And the boys are called Ade Tali, which means favorite son, which is a poor translation. It should mean overworked son. And the girls are Ade Matan, which mean the same thing. I was blessed to be a part of those circles with all of those mentors at a young age. It wasn't just rubbing sticks together for fire. It wasn't just putting up teepees. It wasn't just learning these songs. It was principle-based practices that tied me to my people. The things that I'm looking forward to sharing with you all tonight have come a long way to be here. And I'm saying this because I am acknowledging I'm younger than most people in this room. It's not my place to teach you. I am happy to be here to share these things with you. And I hope that you feel the love that they were given to me with as well. And I'll pass it over to Miss Kalina. Oh, you have your own mic.
Hat slechel si abdi ishad Kalina Lawrence Seedstack, Kalina Lawrence Seedstack, Soqwab Chud, Tol Al Chadu Sakwab, Nancy Alexis Seedsta at Seedskoy, Steve Lawrence Seedsta at Seed Bad, Tol Al Chadu Sakwab. Asquadi of Chud, Asquadi to Bushad Chud, As Joe Il Chud, Altis Lachel, Hawadub Chalup. Good day to all of you honorable people. My name is Kalina Lawrence. I am Suquamish. I was born and raised in the place of the clear salt water. We are Southern Fulshutseed speaking peoples. My mother is Nancy Alexis. My father is Steve Lawrence. I am also a foster youth to many wonderful parents and families and siblings, and I'm really grateful to be here, really happy to be here, and grateful to all of you for your presence and the good work that each of you do every single day, including today. And yeah, I joined Native Wellness Institute and the Indigenous 20-somethings project in 2018, 17, I'm not sure which year. And it's just been a real huge honor to know that we, as many Indigenous nations and cultures, we have a lot of spaces for youth, you know, from newborn to 18, and a lot of spaces for our elders, right, 55 and up. And there's a lot of healing work that's happening between the ages of 18 and 55, and especially in our 20s. And it's just been really special and important for us to come together across nations and hear from each other about the healing work that we're doing and the spaces that we're holding and the knowledge that we're sharing and the information and stories that we're sharing to hold and encourage our generation to exist and thrive and love. So yeah, we're just really honored to be invited here today and represent Native Wellness Institute, which is based here in Oregon, and the Indigenous 20-somethings project, which has folks everywhere pretty much now. We've been able to expand and reach and include a lot of young people. So that is Josh and I. And we were just gonna check and see how folks are doing with dinner. Are y'all feeling done? Still eating? Okay, we have a couple of icebreakers that we wanted to invite you all to participate in. And for that, we would like for you to be able to stand and move around a little bit as you feel safe to do so. Yeah, we'll go from there. So feel free to throw your garbage away if you have to, or set it down and just be ready to get up and go.
Awesome. Perfect, perfect. I see some people already starting to move around. This is good, this is good. What we're gonna ask you to do is to stand up, find a space anywhere in the room that you'd like, and get yourself a partner. Get yourself a partner. Is that one on? That one's on. Ah, what's wrong with this one? Sweet, sweet, sweet. Now, what's typical usually when we say get yourself a partner, we tend to gravitate towards people that we already know. If you would be so inclined to take a healthy risk and find someone that you don't know, That would be awesome. All right. So go ahead, once you found your partner, you're just gonna introduce yourself and find out who has the biggest shoe size. Nice, nice. Got a little bit of rock, paper, scissors going on. This is good. Beautiful. Do you have a partner?
Do you want a partner?
All right, once you found yourself a partner and you found out who has the biggest shoe size, the person with the biggest shoe size is gonna go first. These are the rules of the game. I'm gonna give you a time limit, 30 seconds. You gotta fill the whole 30 seconds. You gotta speak, you can't stop. And then when I say switch, the person with the smaller shoe size is gonna go next. Does that make sense? Larger shoe size, 30 seconds. When I say switch, small shoe. Okay, here we go. You're gonna have 30 seconds to talk. This is your prompt. The things that make me beautiful are. The wheel's turning. Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful people in this room, man. All right. Your time begins right now. Time. So now it's your partner's small shoe. 30 seconds. Your time begins now. Time. That's it, man. That's it. You gotta stop right there. Awesome. Here's what we're gonna do.
One
You gotta
mic.
thank your partner.
One mic. Repeat after me. One mic. One more time. One mic. Thank y'all. Josh is going to give a little bit more instruction.
Oh, thank you, Miss Kalina. That was really good. I've never seen that done before. Okay, guys, your partner was great. We gotta move on. Just go ahead and say, thank you so much. I'll catch you up good looking. And find another partner. Yeah. Cool. Once you find your new partner, go ahead and introduce yourself. Whoever is closest to the ceiling is gonna go first. Taller. Perfect. Once you figured that out, you know who's gonna go first. This is your topic for 30 seconds. Remember, you're gonna go until I say switch, and then when I say switch, the
One
not so tall
mic.
person.
One mic. Thank you.
Awesome. So you're gonna go until I say switch. When you switch, it's like the not so tall person's gonna go next, okay? So 30 seconds, this is how I experience love. Or, this is what love means to me. I heard a little sigh in there. If you haven't thought about it, now's a good time. This is how I experience love, or this is what love means to me. 30 seconds and go. Time. So the not so tall person, it's your turn. Time. Okay. Please thank your partner. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. All right. I hope you get that love. Hope you get that good love. And then go ahead and take a seat, man. Take a seat. Not right where you are. Go find your other seat. Or right where you are. It's up to you. Yeah, I'll just wrap this up, please. Sweet. These are all rhetorical questions. So please don't answer them out loud. But just think about it. How did that feel? Telling people, maybe that you don't know, or maybe that's someone that you do know. This is what makes me beautiful. What an intense thing to say. How did it feel? What about talking about the way that you experience or receive love? How was that? Good. Yeah, awesome. I'm seeing some heads going. That's awesome. Not really rhetorical at that point, but appreciate it. This is good. Here's the reason why I ask those questions. Because it's important to be intentional with the way that we speak. I'm speaking English to you. I speak a few different languages. Could have used different words. The beautiful thing, I could have asked, what are the things that make you great? What are the things that make you important? What are the attributes of leadership that live in you? Many ways to ask that question. If we're giving ourselves permission to be able to explore those things and feel comfortable enough to say, I am beautiful, then it's a good day to be Indigenous. When we're around a group of other people and we're able to talk about the ways that we experience love and what love means to us, that is a good thing. These are the manifestations. This is the personification of what healing is. Does that make sense? We can talk all day about principle. When we apply it to practice, that's where the wisdom of those things become alive to us and we become alive to them as well. I'm going to take this off. Ooh. I'm also going to steal a seat, if that's all right. Hope it's not too casual to sit with you. It's another way of introducing yourself to each other as well. We could have gone on, man. Could have asked all kinds of questions. Most embarrassing story. If you had $1 million, what would you do? Blah, 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 blah. It's awesome to be able to explore these things with friends who we've either never met before or have known for a long time. You're never not introducing yourself. Everything that you have and are has come from someone or something else. The phrase, like, honor all my relations, it's a beautiful idea, but it is our people's ways of being. That is an Indigenous way of living and knowing. So there is a principle, teaching, that comes from our community. Again, it is this idea that everything that you have and are comes from someone or something else. The air that you breathe, it's not yours. Yeah? It comes from the oceans and our plant nation, who speak actually only in the language of service. The body that you have comes from your parents. The language that you speak, even the way that you think, in large part is born out of the people that you were gifted to. It is important to know these things and hold that teaching for in order to be able to have the ability, to honor all our relations. Connection is our way. It is who we are. And the reason why I want to start there for what we're about to do is for this purpose. We were talking, the bro and I, about Polynesian navigation. It's alive and well in the Pacific. And there is a compass that they draw. And in that compass, there are a number of houses. Each house has a name. All stars live in a house. It's a way to be able to familiarize yourself with the actual horizon. There is no compass that you can hold. It's you at the center of the drawing, and then the canoe, and then the actual horizon, or the terrestrial horizon, like the blue water that you see, and then the celestial sphere of all of the stars that move. Similarly, when anthropologists were studying many Plains tribes, one of my tribes included, one of the anthropologists mentioned that these indigenous peoples place themselves as well at the center of the world. And in both cases, the same word was used to describe them. So maybe it was something like a buzzword that they used in academia back then, but they used the word egocentric way of viewing the world, which I thought was interesting. Which couldn't be farther from the truth, right? Our people aren't walking around super hoity-toity, noise up at everyone. We are aware of our place, and we act and we talk and we sleep and we move and we name our children like it. Everything that we do is born out of that space of placing ourselves in the center of the center. I want to start there because I feel like in celebrating our indigeneity, it's what made our people, to me, so beautiful. It's what made them so lovely. It's what made them so cool. They dressed like they knew they were that important. They had elk teeth on their dresses. Yeah, if you were to walk around today, people would stop, literally, and stare at you. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. That kind of bravery for it to be a societal norm is born out of those teachings. So let me ask you this rhetorical question as well. The plant nation speaks in the language of service. And everything that they do for you is a type of service. And in fact, if we were to learn how to speak that type of service, we would be perfect in it. Do you live your life like you know that the plant nation lives to serve you? Animals speak in the language of family, the individual and predators as well. They have legs in all four directions, a head to the sky, a body in the snare or this life, and a tail to the earth, touching all seven directions at once. Their language is family, the individual and predators. Do you live your life in a way that, if people were to watch you, speaks to your understanding that those animals live for you? The moon of our sisters rises to watch your body while you're unconscious. We have the ability to draw the sun down to this earth by making fire, to keep us safe, start ceremony. Do we act like that? Do we talk like that? Do we come out of the bathroom like that, bro? Like, everything that we do should be based on this principle. We are principle-based, practiced people. You are so important that everything in the natural world has chosen its purpose to be your success. And you're loved just because. Not everything in creation is in that space. So it's a privilege. It's a blessing. I want to share a little story. We're here to talk about balance. We're here to talk about some of the things that have gone on this last year. Time gets away from us. So instead of having a lengthy discussion, I just want to share a story and allow that story to be with you. I'm kind of caught between two stories, but we'll go with this one. Way back in the day, before the Kiowas had left the cold country, which is what we call it, up in the north, they were hanging out. They were in this encampment, and there was actually a chief who had this beautiful little girl. And she was so sweet and kind and could do no wrong that they actually gave her this title as a baby. And it was Matan Yiga, or Ade Matan. Sound familiar? Favorite daughter. And this little girl was loved by everyone, and nobody could tell her off. So she grew up playing, doing whatever she wanted, and kind of that was that. Well, she got older and older and came closer to the age of womanhood, age of responsibility. There needed to be something there for her to do. And so there was a council that came to the chief and hey man, your daughter, she's beautiful, she's great, but we're Kiowa, and our people work. And she needs to be able to, traverse the wilderness like the rest of us. And if she doesn't learn how to do anything, not gonna be that helpful. He's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, not a problem, let me see what I can do. Goes home, and he gives her a chore, one chore, and it's to go and get water every day. So every day, he calls her over. Amai, Emma, come here, little girl. She comes over, brushes her hair, kind of chalks her dress because she's so fancy in her buckskin dress. He gives her her pouch, and she runs off down to the river. She come back early in the morning, throw the water, go off and play. She's done. She did her work. The older she got, the longer she spent down by this river. It's kind of confusing to her dad. Didn't really know what was going on, so he thought, I'll ask, what are you doing down there? And she's like, oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. He's, okay, and move on. So they're going on with their lives, and she's spending longer and longer down by the river. Starting to drag on now, getting closer to the end of the day, and her dad is kind of worrying what's keeping you down by the river by yourself. Ask her, what is going on? Nothing, don't worry about it. Okay. And they carry on. Well, one day, it's been some time now, many seasons, she comes home and her dress is dirty. And her paint is smeared and her hair is messy. He's like, oh, pump the brakes, kid. What's going on? What are you doing down there? Nothing, don't worry. Feeling uncomfortable, he lets it go on for some time. Eventually, he's like, nah, I'm going to put a cork in that. Sends her 7 brothers after her. She gets up in the morning, she goes down to the river. Goes over to those boys, hey, I need you to go down and follow your sister. Something's going on, and I don't know what it is. He's like, oh, yeah, we got you. Don't worry about it, Dad. So they get on their horses, they ride down to the river. They're trailing their sister, and they're sitting there up on the hill all sneaky like. And they see their sister on the other side, standing in front of all of these trees. And this girl calls out. And from the woods comes a bear. And it jumps on her, and it licks her face, and they roll around. And they're cuddling, and they're in love, and it's weirding out her brothers. So she goes home, or they go home, excuse me. And they're like, Dad, I don't know how to tell you this, man. I'm pretty sure our sister has fallen in love with a bear. Yeah, it was surprising then, too. Her dad is like, hoo-hoo, go kill that bear. He's mad. He doesn't really know what to make of the situation. So they're like, got you. Get on their horses, ride back. Boom, miss their sister. She comes back. Her hair is all messy. Her paint is smeared. Her dress is dirty. And I was like, what's up? Where you been? And this baby girl says to her dad, oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. A little bit of a power imbalance here because he feels like he knows, right? The entitlement is ridiculous. So he says, okay. And they carry on. Later that night, those boys come home and they say, killed the bear. The next morning, the dad calls the chief, his little baby girl over. Hamai, come here. She comes over, brushes her hair, cleans her dress, paints her face, sends her on her way. She goes down to the river. She gets across to the other side of the bank. She calls out, and there's no bear. So she's like, okay, it's weird. Kind of in love, so don't know what that's about. Sits down, waits for a while, calls again, nothing. Now, I don't know how your stories go in the communities that you come from, but where I come from, humans were the last people we introduced, last nation, and all nations do actually speak in a way that we can speak back and forth, actually conversate with. So she spoke to the river, and the river stood up and spoke to her too. And she says to the river, I'm looking for my bear. Have you seen my bear? No, says the river. I don't think I've seen your bear today. You know what? I bet if you ask Creator, be able to help you out. She's like, okay. So she prays. Creator, I need help. I cannot find my bear. And Creator sends this messenger. This messenger flies over to her, flapping his wings. What you need, baby girl? I'm looking for my bear. Oh, yeah, your brothers killed your bear. And her heart begins to break. And she doesn't really know what's going on. She's beginning to be filled with, don't know. But it's intense. It's a lot. And so in this confusion and, I don't know, the moment she was caught up, like, can you take me to him? And the messenger said, yeah, follow me. And so they follow each other through the woods, and they find the bear. That arrow is painted by her brother's hand. She knows that arrow. Yep, her brother's killed it. Now, instead of just confusion and anxiety, she decides what she is going to settle on. And she settles on anger. And she settles on fear. I'm mad at my brothers. I'm taking this away from me. Will I ever find another I can love like this? Sadness follows. And she asks, can you turn me into a bear? And the messenger thinks for a minute and says, yeah, you know what? Your brothers didn't do anything with this. There is no offering. There's no need for this. Yes. This is a good trade. So she turned into a bear. Brand new body, 400 pounds, real long claws, same heart, same eyes. She goes back to the encampment that she came from, and she begins to rip that place to pieces, tearing through lodges, looking for those boys. People are screaming and crying and running for their lives. And the chief comes out of a lodge and sees this bear and becomes afraid. I've killed some great spirit. Where is my daughter? She starts to chase her dad and sees those boys getting on their horses. And so she changes course and beelines it towards them. But they're afraid too. They don't want to die. And they get on their horses and they ride so hard and so fast and so long that the horses die. And they get off those dead horses and they're running on foot asking for help. Please, save me, save me. And her sister is angry, sad. And she's just caught up in this emotion. She can't let it go. She's chasing them and getting closer and closer. Finally, this rock speaks back to them, and this rock says, jump on me and I'll keep you safe. So all these boys, they jump onto this rock and it begins to climb. And as it's climbing, she begins to rip away at this rock, trying to get closer and closer to them. And she is gaining. They're freaking out, man. They don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden, that rock stops. Way up there, close to the sky. And they're like, oh crap, we're going to die. So they call out to the sky one more time, please, please, help me, save me. And this guy says, jump to me and I'll keep you safe. And so the boys, they jump up into the sky and they get stuck there as stars. And in the spring, they sit above Devil's Tower. The rock that they jumped off of is one of the tools that we used to be able to go home. Well, she was mad. She couldn't kill her brothers. Still sad, though. Just kind of defeated. She comes down off the rock. She doesn't know what to do, so she goes home to the encampment that she comes from. And as she's coming into the encampment, people are seeing this bear and like, holy crap, is that bear? They're running and screaming again, right? People are freaking out. Well, the chief comes out and he sees this bear coming. He has not seen his daughter, and he has not seen his sons. But here's this bear. And so he begins to sing his death song, stake himself in, and he's ready to count coup. And his heart begins to break. And the bear gets closer and closer, and then she sits. And he's confused. So he sits. And there's no real explanation for it in our community. But in this part of the story, the dad knows who the bear is. He can feel and see his baby grow. And he's embarrassed. He doesn't know what to say, so they just sit there for ages. She probably smells bad. She's a bear. And he's just like looking at her. And then he says that the Kiowas will never again kill brown bears. And that's it. She gets up and walks away. And so, as a Kiowa boy from the Elk clan, I'm not allowed to kill brown bears. It's the end of the story. It's kind of a bummer. But there's a lot of good things that come out of that. A lot of good things. One of the things that comes out of that is when we're told that story, we're told in the preparation for our coming of age ceremonies. They're talking about fear. They're talking about fear. And they're talking about letting go of fear. And one of the things that they do is they tie it to the story for us to be able to see so we can be able to change. Yeah? Tools that help us in real time are super effective. And they're those kinds of tools I live for. So here's the tool from my community. When we act out of fear, when we act out of anger, you will change into something else. You will kill yourself in the process and chase everyone that you love away from you. And it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, that's the process. There are many ways to die. There are many ways to die. Just remember that everything that is in existence has chosen its purpose to be your success. Nothing that you could say, nothing that you could do would ever stop those trees from breathing for you. Those animals will continue to offer themselves, no matter if you choose to be vegan or not. I know it's kind of a joke, but I'm serious. everything that is on this planet is here to love you. And it's waited a long time for you to be here. So when you go to sleep tonight, go to sleep knowing you're that important. And when you wake up tomorrow, wake up knowing you're that important. And when you walk around so when people see you, they recognize it. Hey, that's a beautiful, powerful, indigenous person. Look at that. You deserve those things. If you feel yourself changing, if you can see those people that you love being pushed away from yourself, let go of that fear and anger. You deserve better. So if you haven't heard it today, I love you. And I will now pass the mic over to Miss Kalina Lawrence. Thank you for letting me share that story.
Whew, that was awesome. I get teary-eyed and chills every single time that I'm fortunate to hear Josh share that. And I learn a little bit more each time I hear it too. And that's another teaching that my elders have shared, is that when we hear stories each time, it might sound a little different, or we might hear something that we didn't pay attention to before. And one thing that I really love is that we are the 20-somethings that are inheriting, right? The stories, the knowledge, the teachings, the talents, the courage, to continue on. So for the next 10 minutes, I wanted to request of you all to take a healthy risk, as we talk about often at Native Wellness Institute, and learn a little bit of Twolshutseed with me, and practice a little bit of call and response, some singing, some speaking, and participate in this cultural exchange that's happening, right? We're representing our families, our cultures, our peoples, the human beings, as we all gather here this evening. And I just wanted to, like Josh, share a little bit of my culture with you all. And this is the song that was mentioned during my introduction, which is my dream come true as a contemporary musician, and why I think I love music so much. So one of the things that I did during time at home, trying to keep our loved ones safe and myself safe, was take language classes. I took the Twolshutseed language class via Zoom for a year and a half, and it was such a blessing to have that access to keep my mind busy and keep learning during this time of a great pause and great change and great shift and deep healing. So I wanted to first ask if there are other language students, language keepers here this evening. Raise your hands if you know anything in your indigenous language. Okay. So maybe if I could get 2 people to share one word in your language that you could teach us all real quick. Anybody? Could be hello, could be thank you. Yeah? One more time. Kashla. Kashla is grandma in Yakima. Okay, can we all say Kashla? Kashla. Ah, thank you. Yeah. One more time. Okoji. Kokoji. Kokoji. Okay, we're bringing the grandma energy tonight. Okay, let's say Kokoji. And that's what language again? Shawnee. Okay. In my language, Kaya is grandma. Yeah. Eco. And what is it? One more time. Ka. KW. And one more time. Eco. Eco. Okay, can we say that? Eco. All right. So we just learned how to say grandma in 4 different languages, which is awesome. Well, 5 if you count English. I don't know. Who counts English? No, just kidding. So I think there's so much to learn from our languages, right? Our languages teach us so much about the earth and about ourselves. And so this transition has just really drawn out this inner language student in me that I'm really grateful for. And so I wrote a contemporary song entirely in the Twolshutsi language. And it was my dream come true. And as always, I have to express gratitude and recognition to our Black and Afro-Indigenous loved ones and relatives who have contributed so much to our world and life as we know it, and especially to music and our connections, the characteristics of our musics that are similar between West Africa and the West Coast, right? And that the music that lives in our bodies, it comes with us everywhere we go, no matter how that separation has happened, that music is within us. And so I also want to thank you, Brianna, for your words. Your poem had me ready. And that solidarity that has been happening between our Black loved ones and our Indigenous loved ones and those of the African diaspora and the Indigenous diaspora is such a special time to be a part of that. And so I say that in recognition of this song being primarily hip hop, Coast Salish fusion with hip hop, and our journeys together between our communities and our peoples. So in a lot of our cultures, we have call and response. And that's also a way that we learn, right? Repeat after me, right? That's a call and response. I say something, you repeat it. I say something, you repeat it. And we hear that a lot in music, a lot in West African musics, in different Indigenous musics, all throughout Turtle Island. And so I always want to honor the history of the call and response. And with that tool, teach you all how to say we are strong in Twolshutsi. So you guys want to try it with me? Yeah? Okay, just to be, just for fair warning, there's a lot of like and saliva involved in our language. A lot of times we talk about how the language reflects the beach, right? When you look at the beach and the barnacles and the rocks and the sand, like all those sounds are all part of the language. So when you think of an oyster, we have a sound that sounds like an oyster looks, if that makes sense. So anyways, that's the Pacific Northwest, right? So I'll say us khayd chalap. How are you folks? And you'll say us wallah chal. Us wallah chal. Us wallah chal. Yeah, sounding good. So the call and response is us khayd chalap. Us wallah chal. Us khayd chalap. Us wallah chal. Us khayd chalap. Us wallah chal. Yeah. How do you feel about it? You feel good? So right now we're speaking Twolshutsi. This, all these people in this room speaking Twolshutsi is a dream come true. So this is a song that is just one of my favorites, and I produced the beat on my phone, which is also, 2021. So when I get to the chorus, you'll kind of hear this part, and that's when I'll ask y'all to join in with me. So you want to give it a shot? All right. I say us khayd chalap, you say us wallah chal, us khayd chalap. Us Rachel, us wallah chat, us wallah chat, you wallah chat, us Rachel, us Rachel, us Rachel, us wallah chat, us wallah chat, you wallah chat. Hold yafti quote, yafti's what you've done. As dog just Put hadab ook achtest asub, put asub put olel. Put hadab ook achtest asub, put asub put olel. Twil shoot it asali, twil shoot it asali, asali ti twil shoot it asali. Y'all ready? I say us Rachel, you say us Rachel, us wallah chat, us Rachel, us wallah chat, us wallah chat, you wallah chat, us Rachel, us Rachel, us Rachel. Us wallah chat, us wallah chat, you wallah chat, kwaf walek, abalek, obob, ob, slachilch ti doof suck, wub tol al cha doof suck, wub, hat ti slachel, us halit chad, hat ti slachel, buck tid si ya, hat ti slachel, si stel buch chat, guadzadad, twol shoot seed, us halit, ti twol shoot seed, us halit, us Rachel, us Rachel, us Rachel, us wallah chat, us wallah chat, you wallah chat. Hey. So every single one of you in here now knows how to say we are strong in full shoot seed. Us wallah chat. Is it true? Are we strong? Yes, we are strong. We are here today. In our language, we say, He's at Sistel Buch as dat. It's a really long way to say Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. He's at Sistel Buch as dat. And we're so, so thankful for your time, your attention, for the invitation, and to know that we are mostly Indigenous 20-somethings in this room and on college campuses, and the very important role that our generation plays, the bridge that we are, and that we are doing it, and we're witnessing each other doing it, right? So, without further ado, that is our time with you all this evening. Please show a lot of love to Josh Cocker one more time. And next to Josh Cocker is Shailene Joseph. Please also give it up for Shailene. Shailene is also a co-founder of the Indigenous 20-somethings project, and an incredible and integral part of the Native Wellness Institute. And the three of us are here for you all, however we can be. Please don't hesitate to ask, to reach out, to connect, to become friends, to invite us there and figure out how we can come and support the work that our generation is doing in our communities. And with that, I will pass it on over to Mac. Thank you.
All right, so we got just a few more items before we can conclude tonight. But next up, I'm going to pass it back to the drum for our honor song. and then we'll have special remarks from Karma after that.
So again, my name is Harold. We're going to be singing a song. This is in honoring of the veterans. It's a veteran song, so. Hey!
All right, this is where I'm going to do that reading thing again I don't like doing. But it is an honor to introduce our next speaker. Been a huge fan, and I think I'll do justice this time, just reading this over and over again. But here we go. So Dr. Carmen Cochran, sorry if I said that wrong, Chippewa and Cree, Dr. Cochran. I just read what was written to me. All right. Dr. Corcoran is the director of Indian Law, the Indian Law Program. And it's not right here, but this is at Lewis and Clark, right? Yes. Her PhD dissertation explored the issues of incarcerated and Native American women. I love the title of this dissertation, The Juxtaposition of Gentle Action Theory, and the traditional ways of knowing and being in the provision of service to Native American women exploring incarceration. I'm working on my dissertation too. I hope it's as beautiful as this one. Her bachelor and master's degree focus on cross-cultural communication, conflict resolution, and public administration. She guest lectures here at Portland State University, is a former board chair of the Red Lodge Transition Services, and also served on the board here at the Native American Student and Community Center. She currently serves as on the board for the Women's Just Project, the Law Enforcement Contacts Policy and Data Review Committee, and Transformative Justice for Victims and Survivors through Victim Assistance and Restorative Justice Partnerships. I did my best, I promise. All right, but without further ado, can we give it up for Dr. Cochran? Or Karma?
Thank you. I'm also a professor here. I am so fortunate to teach the introduction to Native American Studies here, and got my master's here. And this is a very special place to me in all aspects of my personal and academic experience. When we were talking about this event and what we wanted it to look like, what we wanted it to feel like, really the consensus was that we wanted it to be uplifting. You know, we have opportunities in our communities all the time where we deal with the oppression, the racism, historical trauma. And we wanted this to be a place of joy, of healing, but also I really advocated for a call to action. It's something that those of you who've been in my class know, that we can learn all of these things, but unless we personally decide what are we going to do with that information, it remains stagnant. So I'm actually going to, Carlin, would you come up here, please? Carlin, fabulous, is a law student at Lewis and Clark Law School, and our NALSA president, and we're just lucky to have her. So I'm giving you a sheet of paper and a Sharpie. Now the committee knows this is hard for me to share my Sharpies. I know that there are 50 in there right now. I am hoping for 50 back. You know, as adjunct professor, I don't have a budget, but I'll be okay if there's only 48. So what I'd like you to do and think about is on the side where the light bulb is, I'd like you to think about this evening that we spent together and what was something illuminating for you, something that you learned, something that you felt about our time together, our presenters, listening to the drums, the poetry. And then on the other side where you see the foot, and I'll tell you, my students know I did not draw these. I'm not allowed to play Pictionary in any form. So on the other side, what is something that you're going to take away from this time together as a call of action? It can be the simplest or the largest. So, you know, we're really challenged tonight to think about ourselves. You know, it's not always easy to think about how we love and how we are loved in a deep way. The call to action about we're still here, and we are responsible for changing this narrative of this day is huge. The call to action about language and our way of being in the community, what Creator has to give us, whether it's spoken word or the story or the music. So because we're running a little behind, which of course is not really a huge surprise to most of us, feel free to take that with you if you'd like to. Do we have one more thing after me? Okay. Okay, so feel free to take it with you if you'd like to stay and visit for a little bit and fill it out. You're welcome to leave it here too. I always like reading what people have to say, but most of all, you know, thank you for this evening. Thank you for a time of pride and community and wellness. So thank you very much. I will turn it over to Yolanda.
Please give Karma a clap. So now we're at the end of our event, and one of the things that we like to do in Native community is gift our presenters. So if our presenters could come back up. So Brianna is here, and we just lost the Indigenous 20-something project. They had to leave, but I was able to give them their gift prior to their departure. So we just want to go ahead and give her one of those. Gift for them. Thank you. Please say thank you. I'm doing the best I can with navigating this mask. We also want to thank all of our drummers.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so this concludes our event tonight. If you are able-bodied, if you could please stack the chairs and help our students. And if you have any questions, me and Mac will be around to answer any questions. Thank you again for coming this evening.